special live webinar. If you probably may be listening to this on a replay on YouTube, or you may also be listening on the podcast. But glad to have each and every one on here. We are kicking off our 4-week implementation coaching calls for the next couple of weeks. We'll be on meeting on Thursday nights here at 7 p.m. Central for the next 4 weeks. We'll be going through a variety of different topics of helping you to implement more of what you learned over the last couple of weeks, or the last since we had the virtual note buying workshop. Now, if you have not taken the note buying workshop, you're going to be a little confused on some of the things we talk about. So I highly encourage you to go sign up for the next note buying for dummies workshop, which is going to be in March 30th. I'm sorry, not March 30th. March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd here in Austin, Texas. You can't make it live to Austin. Don't worry about it. You can sign up and get the replays to the class in December that we just taught by going to notebuyingfordummies.com. If you can't make that, then guess what? I'd sign up for our monthly membership at $97 a month to get access to the replays and everything else along with it. But we're honored to have you guys join us. I know we're going to have people join us throughout here. We got some people watching online that can't make it. I know a lot of folks are like, hey, I'm back to work the week after the holidays. I don't have time to watch it live, but I'll catch the replay. And that's A-okay. I will tell you this right now. If you're watching this live, I expect you to ask some questions. I want you to ask some questions because we'll be going through a variety of topics. Now, I'm a big believer that you're not going to learn everything about the note business and not in a 3-day workshop, not with 4-hour-long or hour-and-a-half long coaching calls too as well. It's about implementation. But what I hated being an investor and growing as an investor, but also going to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different classes is the workshops are great, right? It's phenomenal to go. It's exciting to get pumped up and taking a workshop, learning something new. But when you leave that class, if you haven't often signed up for like the high-end coaching program, you're kind of lost in a lot of cases. You get back to real life, life slaps you in the face, or at the end of the holidays, you get slapped in the face of the new year. You're like, where do I begin? What do I start doing? And that's what I always wanted to overcome. Like, I want to make sure that my students, especially after taking my 3-day workshop, whether it's in person or live, you've got a game plan. Now, one of the biggest things that we do on the last day of the workshop is we go through, hey, what are some things that you need to put in place to get the ball rolling for you? We'll briefly talk about that going forward here tonight. Tonight, though, for the most part, we're going to be focused primarily on deal flow, how to find note deals, performing, non-performing stuff that you can take a look at immediately without having to waste time by cherry picking over the dead carcasses on some of these listing websites. All right. If you're relying on like the JKP Holdings or the paper stack stuff, there ain't much to look at on there. Why? Because A, they're not out actively marketing for stuff. And B, they're not out actively marketing for stuff. There is plenty of inventory out there if you know where to look and how to find it and how to leverage some of the things that we've shared during the class, or what we'll share here with you tonight as a bit of a recap. So hopefully that makes sense. I know I've got some folks watching live here on Zoom. I'm glad to have you guys joining us here tonight. Sherry and Sam, glad to have you all here. Always glad to have you all here. So that's the biggest thing I want you guys to do is ask questions to go through it. There are no dumb questions. If you haven't taken the class, that's probably the first thing I'm going to ask you, because there's a lot of stuff in our workshop and our workbooks that covers that stuff. But here's some of the things that you need to be put in place first and foremost as a foundation as a note investor. As you're getting started as a note investor, A, you got to make sure you got an LLC. B, you need to have a domain of something that talks about what you're doing, whether it's like Jessica's in motion investments. You know, I don't like the word investing. If I had to go back, I wouldn't use the notes aspect of things, but I've got too much history with it. But having an LLC is the first thing. And I encourage you, if you don't have an LLC or you're thinking about starting an LLC, I've got a very special thing. There's no cost to what I'm sharing with you tonight on this. But tonight, Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, we have an asset protection masterclass. It's about a 2.5-hour live stream with Aaron Young that you definitely want to join. So you can literally go to assetprotectionclass.com. I know I made it really simple for you to sign up for the class. We'll be live streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn and all that good stuff there, but the assetprotectionclass.com. has Aaron Young talking about some of the basics you need to put in place and also some other things you need to worry about as an entrepreneur in today's market. No cost. He's got some great bonuses he's giving away as well during that master class. And I said at 10 a.m. on Saturday, assetprotectionclass.com. But anyway, you got to have an entity. And a lot of people ask me, well, Scott, do I need a website? And yes, you really do need a website these days, or at least a landing page. Now, what is a landing page? A landing page is basically, it's a one-page website. Now, if you're using a CRM like MailChimp or Keep or Infusionsoft, as it's called, or even like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels and stuff like that, many of those products will create landing pages or one-page websites. That will suffice for you. What do you need to have on that landing page? Well, you got to have a little bit about what you're doing. About you. You need to put something about you and your focus, your background, maybe your education, what your focus is, what your niche is. Not on everything. I always see people, we buy everything. Well, no, you don't buy everything. We're buying distressed real estate is a good generic kind of term, but non-performing notes or distressed assets, residential, commercial. Put a little something about what you're buying. If you've got some investment history, deals you've done, fix and flips, you're a loan officer or a realtor, talk about that, your experience in doing that and working with people. But sharing that to your website is important because honestly, when you start reaching out to banks and asset managers, which is what our preferred strategy is to find products, they're going to be checking you out. They're going to be going to A, your LinkedIn, and B, your website. Now, your LinkedIn is very critical as well. You need to have a good profile photo. You need to have a background image. You need to have something on there that talks about you in real estate. Now, yes, I know, hey, I've been a realtor for 20 years. Do I need to take that down? No, leave that up. That's totally fine. Oh, hey, I'm an engineer, or I'm in computer industry, or I'm in something else. I'm a teacher. That's okay. All right. Investing can be a hobby for many people, and it is a hobby. So don't be afraid to put that in there, but post something in there that you're into real estate, you're an investor, something in there, not your new job title, but it wouldn't hurt to put real estate investor, at least, as a generic aspect of things. And aside, when you create a profile link in there, when you started your LLC or when you started investing in real estate. Because listen, if you've bought your own home, you're an investor. I'll tell you that, because most people, their primary residence is going to be their biggest investment out there. And so just so you guys know that I am watching the live stream for questions and comments on Zoom too. So feel free if you want to comment in there. I am paying attention to that. I'm just making sure I can get to where you guys are able to leave a comment, because it's acting kind of funky with my stuff here. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So, but like I said, you got to have an LLC. You can't, I would not be buying these in your own personal name. Yes, if you have a self-directed IRA, you can buy in your IRA. And yes, I had a guy argue with me 2 days ago about, well, I just want to use my IRA to buy stuff. I'm like, that's fine, but what's going to happen when you come across a deal where there's not enough money in your IRA? Well, I just won't buy it. I'm like, okay, I guess that's one way to limit your mindset. You're going to need to be raising capital. There's some other things that you're going to be doing. That's why we have that asset protection masterclass with Aaron Young on Saturday to help you guys kind of start the new year off right, on the right foot, put some things in place, or clean up some things from the previous year or years to help things get rocking and rolling for you on the right aspect of things. So, but anyway, going down to finding deals, let's dive into that. You got your LLC, you've got your one-page website, you've updated your LinkedIn profile. How do you find some deals? Well, here's the biggest thing that I really suggest you all do. All right. And LinkedIn is what we've been using for years. It works really well. There's a variety of other little different things you can do out there. And I highly recommend that you do some of these things. It's kind of like a calling a play. If you're well, we're in football season right now, and a coach will go into a football game with a play sheet. If you ever watch the NFL games or watch college, you see the head coaches or the play callers who have like a laminated sheet in front of them, right? And depending on the situation and the scenario and where they're at in the game, or where they're at in the yard line, or down, tendencies of the defense or what they're doing, they have a play sheet. Now, they're not going to call every play every game. They may call one play just once a year, right? Because they have the right situation, or they may not be in the right position for it. But you're going to have a variety of different plays that you run throughout the year. Now, as we are now in the first quarter of 2024, it is a good time to be reaching out banks and asset managers. Everybody's talking about a Q2 recession, Q2 sell-off. Well, if we're going to have a Q2 sell-off, you need to be making the connections in Q1. All right. And you need, and this is actually easier than it's ever been before. When I first started, I'd have to make 50 to 100 phone calls, cold calls every day. And now I'm not asking you guys to do that because I know many of you would like, run for the hills and go a different direction. Even though a lot of other real estate requires you to make cold calls, you don't necessarily need to do that in the note business. Now, there is a time that you need to pick up the phone and call asset managers, and we'll get to that later on. But the most important thing you can do is really leverage the power of LinkedIn to make things happen. All right. It's good to see some folks on here. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Sam. Hey, Sherry. And then we got folks watching on YouTube there. But if you have a free YouTube account, not YouTube account, sorry, a free LinkedIn account, that will work all right for you. LinkedIn in the last year and a half has really put kind of a limitation on how many connections you can reach out to on a regular basis. If you've got a smaller account, by smaller account, really under probably 1,500 connections, under 2,000 connections with just a free account, you're probably only going to be limited to about 20 invites a day or 100 invites that you can send out on a weekly basis. That's small to what it's been, but think about this. When was the last time you all went out and met 100 new people in a week? I'm not talking about Christmas parties where it could be a smorgasbord of people. I'm literally talking going out and connecting with people, 100 people in a week. Probably many of you, it's zero, never, zilch, nada, right? Can I get an amen to that? Or I'm at home, I work from home, or I may talk to 5, 10, 20 people. Now, I'm not saying if you go to a conference or something like that, you're going to meet some folks. Yeah. But I'm talking something consistently where if you meet 100 people, you leverage 100 new connection invites on a weekly basis for the next 52 weeks. We're in week 1. You could connect with 5,200 prospects for you. Now, the idea here is you're just not going to go willy-nilly inviting things. There are specific things you want to look for. So let me share my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn's a little bit of an exception because we're capped out at 30,000 connections. I know it's hard to do. I'm in the top 1% of LinkedIn profiles because we've worked very hard to make this connection. So I have to go back in and eliminate some folks from time to time. But one of the most important things you can do is LinkedIn is one of the best ways to find note deals. It is. It literally is one of the best ways because it's one of the easiest ways to literally find the right individuals at different departments, different banks, different institutions. And it's a great way if you at least do what I'm going to tell you to do here, and you have a profile that looks somewhat professional, you're going to do okay. All right. You're going to do okay by just sitting to this. And if you just did this aspect, it should help you. Okay. Let me bring this up here. So we'll pull my LinkedIn profile. So we're on my LinkedIn profile here. And oh, look at that. Cal Ewan's one of my coaching students. He's got a posting on there, mortgage note investment deals of the week. He's doing this. This is a great way. We'll talk more about this later on in probably week 3 of it. He's doing this webinars during the week, a lunch and learn, basically just to attract investors. And it's starting to work for him. He's done it for a couple of weeks now. He's doing a really great job. He's got not a very big database either, but he's been leveraging LinkedIn, leveraging some of his socials to attract people to a webinar. And I think the first week he had 1 person, the next week he had 8, next week he had 20. But starting to grow where he's breaking down one deal. Either it's a deal he's already closed on or a deal that he's working through due diligence on. So it's a great way to raise capital. But one of the great things about LinkedIn is just the search bar. All right. Now here, the easiest thing that you guys can do is just go over here and type in note buyer. Type in note buyer. Now, what you might want to do is you could even narrow it down by the state that you're in. All right. It's like, if you go to and click on people, like Jessica's in St. Louis, Missouri. So if I type in note buyer, it's probably going to pull up note and buyer both. But you see that it says 1.1 million results. Real estate note buyer, hard money lender, note buyer. You can see some of these I'm already connected to, others are new. So literally sending a message, a connection request to these individuals is one of the easiest things you can do. You might start locally where you're located. All right. Maybe it's in Michigan where Lisa is at. All right. Maybe it's in Florida where Darlene is at. Maybe it's here in Texas where yours truly is at. Okay. Cal is a bit of an idea. He lives in Canada. So he was actually trying to connect with other Canadian residents, other note buyers in Canada. It was just a smaller margin for him. All right. But let's pick this. So you click on people, note buyer people, and then your locations, you can type in, say Texas. If we click, let's just do Texas, United States, because it popped up there. Give it a second to kick in. Come on. I probably got a lot. I probably got too much stuff open. Yeah, show results. There we go. Helps if I hit show results. So that dropped it down to 31,000 results. But what you see on here is it's a lot of buyers. So you got to be a little bit, you got to clearing it up a little bit. So like Scott Wynn, real estate and mortgage note investor. He's out of Waxahachie, Texas. You're going to want to spend some time going through this, making sure buyer, note buyers at Note Buyers of America, Terry Reagan. So like we could do this. She's out of San Antonio. Very simple. Just hit the connect button. Okay. And add a note. All right. It's just, you've only got 300 characters to send it to. And now some people are going to be a little private about how they accept it. So just simply say, hi, Terry. I'm a fellow note investor in Texas and would love to connect. What are you buying or selling currently? What is in your buy box? I'm looking for NPNs and reperformers for my own portfolio. If you can see that on YouTube. Let's check. Let's talk. And what I like to do is literally putting in my Calendly link. Talk with ScottCarson.com. Thanks. All right. So something really simple for my own portfolio. Okay. Now I'm going to copy that. Except for hi, Terry. Copy that. I'm going to hit send. And I'm going to do that over and over and over again. You can do 20 of those a day. You can do 20 of those while you're sitting on the phone with me tonight. You can do it while you're watching NFL games or watching what comes on live TV. The Bachelor is going on right now, right? But just keep going down here and looking for people on that stuff is one of the great things you can do. So there's 31,000 results. Let's just keep going through here. Page 2. Real estate buyer specialist. You're going to get probably a lot of realtors on it, but just keep looking. Like and like Edwin Luzenges, mortgage bar. He's at Killeen Temple area. Okay, I'm going to connect. Add a note. Hi, Edwin. I know this sounds redundant, but it really does work. It really works. Not this whole, hey, I want to connect with you. Let's sell you a franchise or let's sell you Bitcoin. You're not trying to do that. And that's the great thing of why you're targeting note buyers, note investors. It would be the next thing to look at. But going through this, like Susan Rogers here, real estate out of Cibolo, Texas. Same thing. Hi, Susan. Add a note. Boom. You're going to find stuff. And that's one of the things that has separated us and what has helped us over the last couple of years. Because in all honesty, 2020 was a rough year when it comes to finding deals. Okay. Because guess what happened? Everybody shut down. People weren't working in the offices. You couldn't foreclose on anything. A lot of the major funds weren't moving a lot of stuff. They weren't buying and selling because they didn't foreclose on anything. So banks weren't really moving off their books. They were hoping to get the out of jail card. Hey, Montrese, good to see you, buddy. Hey, Lorelei, good to see you as well. So then what did? We went the grassroots effort. Now, most people just gave up and got out of the note business in a lot of cases. People that were used to buying from the funds, all right, they gave up because the funds didn't have anything. But what did we do? We went and targeted our database, our network, not just banks and asset managers. That was great. We started that. But we started contacting investors that we either sold to in the past, or B, we leveraged the county records to start looking for note buyers and people who had bought notes from previous sellers. I mean, I literally went into my, my computer, and I looked up at anybody that we'd ever signed a non-disclosure with. Every bank, any institution, we signed a non-disclosure, non-compete, and we reached out to them. Now, if you're brand new at this, you're not going to have a database to look at for that stuff. So that's why you need to look and leverage LinkedIn for note buyers, note sellers, and looking for that kind of stuff. Okay. Does that make sense so far, everybody? Any questions about leveraging the LinkedIn search? Now, there's other things you can look at. I'm not finished with that there, but that's the easiest thing to look at. Now, of course, you can use Octopus CRM. I'm going to share that with you as well. This is a great way to kind of automate some of this stuff. You've got to be careful about some of the search criteria in LinkedIn, like we did note buyer and only pulled up buyer. You can use Octopus to automate a lot of that weekly outreach or that daily outreach if you're crystal clear in your searches. Okay. Now, Octopus will allow you to pull 1,000 basically profiles from LinkedIn into Octopus and then help you with the automation of sending out invites to them, 20 to 100 a day, where you don't have to do it like a hunt and peck like we just did. But you want to make dang sure that the profiles match up with what you're really looking for, okay? Where it's a true note buyer or note investor, not just an investor or a buyer, okay? You got to have it, make sure it really takes a look at that. So that's one thing that Octopus will run you $22 a month. We used it for, oh man, goodness, 4 years, 5 years. Now, like I said, I'm capped out, so I'm not using it anymore because I'm capped out on connections. But it is a great, great tool. It is well worth it. And, all of our one-on-one coaching students, I highly recommend this, almost demand it, because it allows them to grow some stuff. The fact that you can also import profiles, import lists into LinkedIn, if you've got the URLs and some of the things that we provide to our one-on-one coaching students, it helps automate some of this investor outreach, okay? So, but going back to LinkedIn, obviously, if you've been through our workshop, you know that there's 4 to 5 job titles you look for. Note buyer is one of those things, or note investor is one of those profiles you look at. Now, the other things to look at is special asset managers. Okay. And you might even say, to work the algorithm, you might even type in bank. Special assets manager and type in bank. So like corporate special assets at Sedence Bank, same thing. We've got Texas still in here, because so you could do the same thing and say, hey, Colton, I'm a note investor. I wanted to see, let's just do that. Add note. Hi, Colton. Are you the correct individual at your bank in charge of note sales? I'm a note buyer looking for just put NPN on my own portfolio on residential and commercial. That's across the country. I'd love to talk if you have anything. Now, I not necessarily would put my I would put my Calendly link in there. Probably not going to spend time on it, but they're very busy. Most of these asset managers are, so that's okay. But you want to get the work out to them. All right. Same thing. I'm going to copy that because it's this copy and repeat. Copy and repeat. So let's look at VP Legends Bank, Brandon Hill. We're already connected to him. Special assets at Bank of Texas, Brian Jacobs. Let's take this. Hey, Brian. You've got to be very selective, because you may run into that 20 connection requests in a day. I know that Montrese was running into that when he first started using Octopus. But the thing is, like I said, unless you're going to a seminar or a conference with other people at it, this is one of the most effective strategies for you to get out and at least connect with 20 people a day or 100 people in a week to build those connection requests. Now, you may want to also avoid, like, here's the thing. What would be really good you should have done is, if you look at Colton doesn't have a profile picture or background, okay? So he's probably not on here a lot. He might be, it could just be his profile pictures. You could also click on contact info and see if there's any other content. There's not. So he may not be on LinkedIn quite a bit. So it may not be effective reaching out to Colton. So you may want to go to people that are actually spending some time that have a profile picture, like Brandon Hill here. I don't know. Just so same thing. He's only got 92 connections. I'm connected. He accepted my connection request. Okay, great. But he's probably not very active on it with only 92. Hasn't posted yet. All right. So that's the thing to look at is who's active on here, who's got an updated profile. Take a little time to take a look at. Now, yes, the thing with Octopus, you're basically willy-nilly at inviting people, and the great thing about Octopus is that if you've got a bunch of outstanding connection requests, invites that are getting old, you can go in there and delete those in mass in seconds, so that because LinkedIn will only allow you to have 2,500 pending invitations outstanding before it lets you send more. So you can go back in and say anything beyond a month, you wipe that out. Very easy to do. But special asset manager is the first one we look at. Same thing, secondary marketing manager. So just in Texas, so it's pulling up people here locally for me. And the same thing, connect, send a connection request. Hey, are you the right person in charge? You can use the exact same lingo. Hi, Justin. It's because here's the thing. Banks have the special assets department, bigger banks. Your mid-sized banks will also have a secondary marketing department. So a lot of those will be interchangeable, but that's okay. Do it for both. Pick the state you want to buy in or where you're living in. If you're living in California, I don't necessarily would be looking for folks in California unless those banks are lending outside of California. Okay. Any questions, any comments, any concerns from anybody on here so far? Feel free to type in the chat roll. Chat roll is wide open for you to ask. All right. So we've talked about special assets. We've talked about secondary marketing. You can do chief credit risk officer. It's going to be in your smaller institutions. Okay. Now, some of these, like you see, chief credit risk officer, credit cards at Wells Fargo. All right. Credit risk and credit officer. Just going through the profiles. You want to see it, Financial AmeriCredit at PenFed, Credit Union in Texas. You probably avoid credit unions is what I would recommend. They're just not going to have a lot of stuff available for you. Now, one other thing that you can look at too is the whole loan trading. It's like Annalisa, whole loan trading at Flagstar Bank. Okay. Head of mortgage pricing strategy and trading at Flagstar Bank. Mortgage trading. When they say mortgage trading, mortgage trader, that's a pretty good sign that person's in the right spot for you. Can we agree to that? All right. Now, what I always find funny is in the note industry, I'm the only person that's sharing this stuff with you guys. I'm always amazed at these other people that are teaching the note business. They're not teaching the facet of it. Yes, you got to pass a smell test. You got to muster up a little bit different. You got to look a little bit different in buying from banks, and you got to look from buying Joe, your neighbor, or Jim Bob Joe, who's selling a one-off under finance note that he financed on a property. We're not targeting those. Okay, that's great. I'll let anybody and their dog mail out postcards or letters to the owner finance sellers to chase those one-off deals and burn up the Amazon forest and direct mail. Okay, go do that. Go have fun. I ain't doing that. Okay, not my monkey, not my circus when it comes to that. Okay. Question here. All right. So Catherine asked a question. Are you looking for non-performing notes only, or do you also look for sub-performing, maybe even notes that are cash flowing? I'll look for both, Catherine. I think you joined us a little bit late. I'll look for reperforming. I like reperforming stuff. Even sub-performing is fine, but it all depends on the due diligence aspect of that. So I'm looking for non-performing assets or reperforming stuff. And I'll get better look at the reperforming stuff from the note buyers, note sellers, note investors, not the institutions. Institutions are probably not going to sell their performing debt off. They're primarily going to be just focused on the non-performing. If it's sub-performing, they might keep it, they might not. Banks will often consider a sub-performing in the non-performing side of things, okay? If it's performing, it's pristine, they're not going to sell it all. But if it's sub-performing, they kind of consider that as a non-performing because they want it to be crystal clear, 30 days, no later than 30 days late, stuff like that. But yeah, I'll look at sub-performing stuff. I'm looking at a portfolio right now, some stuff. And part of it, the reason it's subperforming from the seller is the seller hasn't really touched it that much. All right. 95 notes, they haven't really done a lot of work with in the last 2 years. They're motivated to get it off their books. And some of these borrowers have been paying on time and others have been hit and miss because they haven't really had anybody to reach out to them. So yes, I'll look at both. But does that answer your question? You're the thing I know, Catherine, you may be just looking for cash flow. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you can find a onesie twosie performing note. You could probably buy from owner finance, stuff like that. But what the thing I'm trying to get at is you're going to get better discounts, better results, better deals, kind of going the institutional route, if you know what I mean. Okay. And another thing you can do on here too is we talked about whole loan trading, chief credit risk officer, note buyers, special assets manager. Oh, even you could do try this. This is a note fund. Try note fund. Let's see what it pops up. Loan operations manager, fund manager, ILS Capital, fixed SEC. Yeah, see, it's too generic. Somebody was asking me about that the other day. I was like, that's probably too generic. So if we just type in note investor, it's probably going to be a better search engine for you. So you're going to get a lot of just investors, VC investors, saying that's pretty, land investor, note investor in Texas, California, Florida. So there you go, Armando Jaloma. He's out of San Antonio. He tells you where he's buying stuff at. So that's the thing. If you're looking for cash flow, that might be a better route for you, Catherine, going through and looking at individuals on here. The same thing. Hey, Stephen. All right. Part of this is about as difficult as it's going to get when it comes to prospecting for deals. You got to sit down, and if it takes you 20 minutes to knock out 20 invites a night, that's your daily homework to your business long term. Okay. I had a guy the other day who's a loan officer. He's out of the business because it's been so bad. He's been laid off. He's been a loan officer for 20 years. And when he was asking me how to find deals, I said, well, one of the ways we do it is we go on LinkedIn. Oh, I don't have a LinkedIn profile. I'm not even saying, well, you just told me you don't have any social. You're out of business. You're out of work. What the hell else are you going to do? All right. I said, it's time to come in the 21st century. All right. If you're struggling to get deals done, it's probably because you're not marketing enough on a regular basis. Pure number one thing. You're not marketing. You're relying on things. You're waiting on somebody to send you a list, waiting on some fund to get some stuff that you can get on their stuff. You're waiting on a website to upload some things. I mean, that's the thing that's so wrong with like PaperStack, JKP, Notes Direct is oftentimes that stuff's overpriced. It just doesn't make any sense to go at. They're not leaving any room for you guys, especially if you need to bring in other money to the table to fund your deals. They're just not leaving a lot of meat in the bone for investors out there. So you've got to get creative. And this is not too difficult. You can do this from your phone. All right. This is what I did. Okay. So Lorelei asked, what do you do with assets you don't buy from an institution? So if an institution sends you a tape and it's not something that you want to buy, what do you do? Is what you're asking, Laura says. That's the most important thing that I'm getting at here is that making sure knowing what you're looking at. If it's non-performing stuff and stuff you don't want to buy, guess what? Use the exact same thing I just showed you to go find people that are looking to buy stuff in that neck of the woods. So if you see something in New York, or you see something in North Carolina, or you see somebody that's a hotel or a multifamily, whatever it might be, guess what? Go back on LinkedIn and reach out to somebody, or pick up the damn phone and call me or email me. All right. Hey, Scott, I got a tape in. It's not anything I want to buy. I know I'm buying, and I know others that are buying. Why wouldn't you leverage our database? All right. I'll reach out to you. I mean, you should know that by now, Lorelei. You were here in Austin. But the point I'm trying to get at here is, and I mean that in all good. Yes, I know. But the point is you guys, we get so used to, I think COVID really caused us to kind of like hide behind our walls, right? We don't want to go out and network with afraid somebody's going to sneeze on us. You know what? Whatever. Look, and that is why going to events and networking is the key. If you're not going to your local real estate clubs your first year, go book it, do that at least. Get out and network. Get out and look at what's going on in self-directed IRA companies around your neck of the woods. Get out and go network. It's one of the most powerful things you can do, especially the IRA companies, because they'll know note investors. Most, literally probably half of the transactions that take place with self-directed IRA companies are notes. So if you go out and network, hey, who's a note buyer here? Or you have a note investor that I could talk to. Or reach out. Here's the thing you do. If you've got a self-directed IRA with Quest or Equity Trust, call up the office. Hey, I got a note for sale. Do you know anybody who's a note buyer that I can reach out to take a look at this? Okay. Reaching out to vendors, reaching out to servicing companies. That's the next thing we're going to dive into. Okay. Is if you go back here, if you dive on LinkedIn, let's do a search. We're going to change this just to the United States. Come on. Next. Loan servicing companies. So here you go. You got 2,100 results when you type in loan servicing company in the United States. And this is people. So you may want to change that to companies. And there you go, 558 results. Loan portfolio servicing, servicing pros, loan servicing soft, Round Point mortgage servicing. Okay. Carrington Holding Company, Black Knight. They're not going to buy anything from me, but they're pretty big. But you can start going and looking at some of these companies and reaching out to see if they've got anything available for sale. If any of their clients are looking to sell stuff. This is one thing that we've done a really good job. Rialto Capital. So if you click on here, all right. And let's see if we can't follow, see if their contact information here is. The fully integrated real estate investment management and asset management company with a dedicated special servicer. Investment manages assets throughout the real estate capital structure in real estate properties, loans, and securities. Okay. Yes, if you're registered here on Zoom, in part of the class, you'll get a copy of the replay. Okay. But same thing, reach out there. And then when you're talking to these servicing companies, this is one of the biggest untapped things that most people won't do is reach out to somebody in either, do you have a sales team, a note sales representative, like a portfolio manager, and selling it, or can I speak to somebody in your business development side? The business development side of the business those are the guys or gals that are going out to conferences, they're getting new business, they're meeting all the loan, the note investors and pressing the flesh at the different conferences, the servicing, stuff like that. They know their clientele base because a lot of these servicers have a requirement for minimum number of loans, or they only require, like some servicers only want to do with performing or in non-judicial states. So if they get something that doesn't fit in their platform, or they've got some non-performing stuff they don't want to deal with, they may know somebody or have a client who they need to kind of move some of their portfolio off. This has worked really, really well for us in the past, and actually some of the best ways that we have found portfolios of loans. Okay. Now you can also go to the mortgage loan originator, then the NMLS login here, Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System. Click on this, and you do a search. All right, so let's let's click on the company. Let's let us search here. I always mess this up. Actually, let me just do this. Loan servicing companies. Let me just look up there, see what pops up. Oh, I can never remember this. This is so different than what it was. Let's do one more time here. It is, I'm looking, here we go. There we go, consumer access. I think that, yeah, there we go. So type in mortgage servicing. Yeah. HRSB. And we're looking for companies. And hit search. Okay, so we'll type in loan servicing. Come on. There we go. So you got to play with it a little bit there. But now it pops up a lot for you. 52 matches or mortgage loan servicing. You can try that. Mortgage. Should be like 189 total. So 12 matches when it comes to loans. So you got to mix it up a little bit. But we were able to pull 189 servicers off of this. Now, what's so great about this? Well, if you click on this, let's just go to like Stone Valley Mortgage. It gives you an email and a phone number. Well, pick up the phone and call them. Hey, do you have anybody in secondary marketing? You have anybody that's in the note sale side of their business? Do you guys? I know you guys service loans. Do you have a sales platform side? Pretty simple. Make a few phone calls. These are leads that will feed you again and again and again. Now, all I do is get the right email, not this basic email, but I get the right email to the right individual, and it's something that I just drip market out to them once a month. Hey, what do you have on your books? Got anything that you're looking to get rid of this year, this month, this quarter? Okay. Such a great thing to do. So just click on another one here. Let's try West. These are mortgage. I don't want. Let's try mortgage servicing. Companies apply. 47. There we go. Black Tie Mortgage Servicing. That's Bell Capital Mortgage Servicing, Garco Mortgage Servicing. You know, Texas, Kirkland, Washington. You look at the states that you're in. But here's the thing. Most of these servicing companies are going to be licensed in multiple states. So don't just look for somebody in your state. Look for in multiple states and just reach out to them. Hey, what do you have in your books? Like I said, people are buying in multiple states out there on a variety of bases for you. Okay. Variety of states gives you a variety of different things to look at. You don't have to just focus on your backyard. Like if I just looked in Austin, Texas, I'd have gone broke a long time ago. I look in multiple states and I have multiple opportunities, and there's different ways of doing due diligence that you can do, and we can talk more about that later on, or we cover it a lot in our 3-day workshop, or especially with our one-on-one coaching. Okay. But that's the MLS consumer access, looking at mortgage servicing companies out there. It's a great way to find folks. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it only takes you finding 2 or 3 trading platforms or servicing companies that have trading platforms that will provide enough deals for you for a lifetime. Just keep following up with them. Okay. One of the, seriously, I can't tell you enough about it. Now, the other thing is going to come down to drafting off of some of these different websites. Okay. So if we go over here to this one, and if you do for sale, and we just pick the available, the single assets, I don't care if they're first or second, performing, non-performing. So if you did that, it's 131 found. If you did, let's see, just first, that's what we want to look at. Performing 104, so non-performing, they only have 20. Oh, they got a few more since yesterday. So we'll click on that. So 124, we're going to export that to a CSV. We're going to download the CSV. And here is the magic. Okay. Let me share this with you here. Give me a second. I'll make it a little bit easier to see. All right, new share. All right, so you should be able to see my screen, right, everybody? Okay. Now, here's the thing. Look at, it tells you the listing number, the listing type, the list date, the seller, the availability, all this other stuff are in here. I don't care about the rest of the stuff. Yes, if you're going to be buying off here individually, you can, but actually the gold is not in that, in the asset. The gold is right here in big bold. All right. This, I mean, like this in green. This is where the money's at, right here. Okay. Because these are sellers. And I have found that most sellers will have more than one note. But most of them don't want to spend the time to list their 10, their 20, or their 100 assets on PaperStack and go through all the rigmarole of doing that. They'll list one or two, and that's about it. Some will list more. But the great thing about this is you can sort this, custom sort it by the sellers. And now you have a list of people to reach out to. Okay. I wouldn't deal with this one up here. If you look at the sellers, you sort it by sellers, you can see what kind of stuff they have. If it's all small valued stuff, okay. Ugh. If they got some performing stuff, great. All right. Non-performing, great. You also want to look at their negotiation type. Are they flexible or firm? Okay. If they're making an offer, you know they're motivated to move that. If they're firm, maybe not. But if they're flexible, hey, I would be reaching out to them because you can often get a better price than what they have listed here. So look at this. Like all you got to do is just copy this here, copy that name, and then guess what? Go over to where? To your favorite website on LinkedIn. And just do a search. Boom. Credit Investors LLC, real estate. Click on them. It takes you to, they had 11 to 50 employees. You got your website. Boom. Just like that. Let's see if they got anything about us, who they are individually. About us. Dov Davidoff. Sounds familiar. Dwayne Elliott, Michael Wick, Jason Thrower. All right. They may have residential commercial, but there you go. Pick up the phone. Guess what? Hit contact. Drop them an email and talk to them about what they're selling. You're going to get better pricing by dealing with them directly too, because if they got 8 or 10 on there, guess what? They probably got more available for sale. And that's the thing. Once you get the right person at these departments, just pick up the phone and call them on a regular basis. Just pick up the phone and drop them an email once a month. All right. That's not hard to do. Because if you look over here, if we go back to our spreadsheet, how many sellers is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. 44 note sellers. Now, probably out of this, you can probably find 35 of them. All right. Like I know Steve Eckhart. Steve's an ex-student of mine. What's he got for sale here? A $400,000 firm. It's performing. It's $1 million. Where is it located? Probably here in Texas. Red Rock, Texas. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, you get what I'm saying is all you got to do is Google. Let's Control C. Steve's bought a lot of stuff over the years. Bright guy, very nice guy. There he is. He's in Austin, Texas. There we go. Central Area Director. That's not him. SteveCashesNotes.com. I think that would be him. All right. But that's all you got to do. Hey, I see that you've got some notes available for sale on PaperStack. Can you tell me more about them? Do you have others that are not on there? If you do that, 99% of people, here's the thing that's the most frustrating thing. Most people will go to that website or they'll go to another one or two and they'll just look at it. Well, there's nothing on here. Well, yeah, there is. You've got all this. Yes, there are some, don't get me wrong. There are some people that have crap on there and there's some ass hats. All right. They're smoking crack when it comes to what they're selling. But here's the thing. If you did that and just did that once a month and updated your note investor list, you'd have enough people on there to see who sellers are by just doing that. That's 2 nights of work on LinkedIn. What do you have in your books? Or, do you have anything else available for sale? Or do you mind if I email you once a month? You have a seller's list. You have a buyer's list that you're looking for. All right. That's not hard to do. You just have to do it. All right. Okay. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe by going to WeCloseNotes.tv. And if you're watching on the YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We've got some great stuff coming on there. Do me a favor and subscribe. If you're on here, just go to WeCloseNotes.tv and subscribe. I'm really trying to hit that 7,500 subscriber mark before we get to the end of the week. I've got a number we're trying to hit there, and we want to go from 7,500 to 10,000 subscribers this year. And I mean, we've got the #1 YouTube channel already, but we'd really love for you guys to help us out there and hit the subscribe button or share it with somebody else out there. But anyway, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, that's some of the easiest things for you to find in product. It's just, what do you say? Hey, I'm buying notes. You know, what do you look, when they ask you, what are you looking to buy? Then you need to know what you're looking to buy. Like Catherine, I'm looking for assets that are occupied, that are either performing or reperforming or subperforming. I don't really want vacant assets that I have to foreclose on and don't borrow. And that's one thing. I don't really like vacant assets. I'll look at them in a few areas. If like they're in Florida or Texas, I'll look at them for the most part. But you know, I'm looking for single family, or I'm looking for commercial notes. You got to be specific. You know, don't say I buy everything. Well, you don't buy everything. I'm looking for non-performing first liens on residential or small balance commercials, what I like to say. All right. And it's just that aspect of reaching out. There's other things we could go to. I mean, we go through a whole lot more in our 3-day workshop of doing things. But honestly, when I was sitting there back and thinking of things that everybody here can do today, tonight, tomorrow, those are the simplest things that you can do to prime the pump to get the ball rolling for you. Okay. Now, you don't want to send an email from Tiger Lily 05 or I'm too sexy for my shirt at hotmail.com. Okay. You know, I'm too sexy for your listing. You know, but here's another thing. Like if you're looking for a specific asset class, like Montrese, you're doing mobile home parks, you're doing mobile homes or buying individual mobile homes. You know, one of the best things that you can do, and I think you already have Tanya, your wife, doing this. And by the way, great Christmas photo with the red and black plaid. I love it. Great photo of the whole family. I hope you got that on your website and hope you got it on your pitch deck. Is if you're reaching out to asset managers, look at mobile home lenders or look at mobile homes, you know, in your area and call, hey, do you have any mobile homes for sale? I know that you're probably already doing that, but I'm just trying to help you out there a little bit there. But you get what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Sometimes it makes more sense when you get stuff in that it's not anything you want to look at, but you've got an opportunity to sell something. And flipping something, making $500 on something is better than making nothing. Can we agree to that? Making 1,000, making 5,000 is better than making nothing. Oftentimes people get these lists and they don't know what the hell to do with them because they give up because it's not ideal. Well, guess what? You've got a gold mine of stuff there. One of my most successful quarters was a few years ago. And I got this list in from an asset manager out of New York, Sasha. And Sasha's passed on now, unfortunately. But Sasha sent me this list of about 106 non-performing first liens, small balance stuff. Some of it was vacant, some of it was occupied, but it was the bottom of the barrel, or what we call it, the tail of the tail end of the trade. Okay. Now you couldn't let it go for nothing, but he was willing to let it go for a lot less than what most people do. And I said, well, listen here, Sasha, I don't want to buy all this stuff because I can't buy it all. But if you let me work my marketing and let me work my networking, and in today's world, it's easy to connect with people, just like I showed you on LinkedIn or email or Facebook groups. If you let me work my marketing, I bet I can move some of the stuff. If you tell me exactly what you want per asset, what your bottom line number is, great. Let me work it, anything, and I'll go to work marketing it to my database. And if you allow me to mark it up a little bit, I'll share in my markup with you. He's like, what do you mean? So, well, the first $2,000 above markup or above what you'll want is mine. But anything above that 2,000, I'll split with you 75-25. So if I can sell this note in outside of Charlotte for, you want $5,000 and I can sell it for $8,000, guess what? I'll give you your $5,000. That $2,000 is mine, but I'll give you an extra $250 off that extra $1,000. So I'm making $2,750 and you're making your $5,250. He's like, I like that. That's not a problem. Let's do it. So we did that. He literally gave me a non-exclusive option agreement on the whole tape for $10. And I went to work marketing that. I got that tape in October. It was about the week before Halloween. And I remember going on there, and I was traveling. I was in North Carolina. I was actually staying in Taylorsville, North Carolina with my friends, Lanny and Jimmy Harrington. And I got this tape in, and I immediately started working through the tape. And there was a thing called Postlets that used to be around that you could create a website that would hook up with all these other real estate websites and stuff like that. So I started creating websites for every one of these notes. And I hustled that 90 days. I made $100,000 plus in commissions just by hustling. I think I sold 15 to 17 of them, something like that number. And everybody's happy. Sasha was happy because he was making more than what he expected, and somebody else was doing the work. I was dealing with all the herding the cats of the investors. I was happy because I was making some money on it. I would be charging more for my time now, but that was a different time frame back then, right? But working through that. And that's the same thing as you see things being listed that aren't moving, that have been around or been around the merry-go-round. Like, I'll give you a great example. David Polio is sending a list out of 197 non-performing notes. These things have been sitting around for 6 months. Okay. And what's on there, and congratulations, Lisa, on making an offer in your Ocala, Florida one as well. I saw that today, and then others out there. A few others made some offers and some stuff there. I mean, there's some jewels in there if you know where to look, and then I break them down. But if he's really smart, he'd be reaching out to investors like me and say, hey, who do you have in who's buying in Alabama? Who do you have who's buying in Detroit, Michigan? But they're not. He just blasting out to his database, and he keeps thinking it's slamming against the wall, that everybody that hasn't seen that tape is just going to imagine, suddenly get interested in the junk that he has. You got to get creative. You got to have a come to Jesus meeting with the seller and say, listen, this stuff isn't going to sell. It hasn't sold in 6 months. We need to come up with some reserve pricing that makes sense and get this thing moved. Get these things closed up. Because for every day that stuff sits on, I think it's AHP's or somebody else's portfolio, it's cost of money and servicing costs, and the assets aren't going to be better. But there's some opportunity there. You're right. And when I talk about wholesaling deals, I'm talking about wholesaling deals. But always act like you're going to buy for your own investment. Don't just blast the list out. Maybe pick one or two and dive into what's it look like. Is it in good condition? Is it in bad condition? All right. There was one that was in, was it Augusta, Georgia? It looked pretty good. One of my students made an offer on today. It's been, it's vacant, but there's a lot of value there. The unpaid balance is low. I was like, well, make an offer at 33 cents of unpaid balance because there's a ton of equity, but it's a smaller balance stuff. And if you got to make it worth your while, it's been sitting there vacant for a while. So that's the thing I look at, guys, is don't be afraid to grow your connections and talk to people. And you're not going to get to success overnight. Some of you guys have been in real estate for 10, 20 years. I've been around. I'm celebrating my 23rd year in real estate. In June, it'll be my 23rd as a real estate investor, right? When I bought my first house. I didn't grow a big database overnight. And what I did is what I'm telling you to do. Go out to your real estate clubs, network like crazy. LinkedIn wasn't around when I started. Facebook was barely around. There's so much opportunity for you to leverage these different groups and connections. Hey, I see you're a note investor. I mean, you could literally go to Facebook and some of these Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups of note investors and start doing the same thing. Hey, I see you're a note investor. What are you looking to buy? I'd love to connect with you. I'm a real person. I'm not a bot, and connect with folks that way. But all about deal flow is all about making connections. All right. You can leverage some of the websites. You can leverage LinkedIn. You can leverage other note sellers out there, but you got to spend time each and every week to get this done. Because what's going to happen if you don't do it at the same time every week? You're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to forget to do it because you're going to get bogged out by doing something else. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you make these connections, you're going to be getting lists in that you can purchase, deal flow in that you can cherry pick yourself or work with other people to take stuff down. Or you may get some tapes in that, hey, it's an all-in bid. And here's the thing. At first, that may seem impossible for you because you probably haven't networked. You probably haven't done the right things to make some things happen. And you've got to realize, what are you putting out? And this is another thing too. What are you putting out in line? Jessica is doing a great job on her LinkedIn marketing. Hey, we're buying notes. What do you have on your books? Are you looking to put some money to work? You're doing a great job marketing and sharing on a regular basis. You just got to keep growing your LinkedIn and your general database and contacts. Keep doing that. Keep doing. We'll talk more about that next week or week 3 about raising capital. But it all comes down to deal flow is all about marketing to the folks that have assets, who have notes, and you need to go there. And if you're waiting on people to send you deals, they don't have deals. You got to hit the whole next. And I challenge you to do that, to connect with 20 people this week, or 40 people this week, or 50 people doing the simple things that we just did. Because I guarantee if you do reach out to people, you'll get some lists sent to you. Because here's the thing. Most people suck at marketing. Most of these asset managers and banks don't market. And if you can actually stand out among the crowd and reach up and follow up with folks, leave a voicemail, leave an email, and follow back up, you got to expect it to take 80% of sales happen after the fifth contact. So realize it's a multiple touch point to get something. And once you know that, and once you embrace that, guess what? It's a much easier facet. But if you're just sitting around and expecting to have success happen overnight like that, stay in your job, keep doing what you're doing, because that's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen with anything. You've got to learn to invest some time and some resources. And also, for the love of Christ, be coachable. All right. So that's what I wanted to focus on tonight with you guys on the implementation. I'm not going to cover a lot more tonight. I wanted to open up for questions for you on just what we covered so far this evening. And as a quick recap, leveraging LinkedIn to find no investors, no buyers. Using it to find special asset managers, secondary marketing professionals, whole loan traders, and chief credit risk officers. Leveraging the MLS to find servicing companies and reaching out to them and just asking, hey, who's your business development guy or gal? You have a note sales trading platform. Same thing, going to some of those websites, looking at who the sellers are. Now, some of these websites won't list the seller, they'll list the asset. Well, it's pretty easy to go to the county records to find out who owns that asset by looking either if it's a contract for deed, who's the deed holder right now, or looking at the most recent assignment of mortgage in the county records to see who owns it, and then contacting them directly. Okay. Like I said, any questions, comments, concerns, and I'm making sure I can get to the YouTube here as well if there's any questions on there. Give me a second. But as I said, guys, it's not difficult to do. You just have got to sit down and do it on a regular basis. Put it in your schedule to do. Octopus is one of the easiest things to start off with. And let's see here. Matt says, always good to add value to a creative finance deal. That's awesome, Matt. Good to have you. I use a great system called at Home Depot called GET. All right, Matt, what's the GET stand for? Greet, engage, and thank. I like that, Matt. Get, greet is important. Hey, how's it going? Engage, totally engage with them, and then thank them. I love that. I'm a big, what I was taught from some of my coaches is the whole form method. Where, we talk about, hey, where are you from? Where's home? Occupation. Well, obviously, if you know what you're talking, I'm talking about out meeting strangers. What do you do? Occupation. Or what'd you do for fun this weekend? Did you watch the game? Or how was Christmas? And then end your message. And that stuff. Like, I love that. Yeah, the get. Greet, engage, and thank. Matt, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it, buddy. All right. Anyway, are there any other questions, any other comments from folks out there before we let you go for this night? This is the first part. We've got 3 more weeks of this. We'll meet Thursday nights. If you're on this live on the Zoom, you'll get the replay sent to you. If you're, we will send it out to you. The YouTube, if you're watching live on the YouTube, we'll probably turn it into a private link first thing tomorrow. So I'd highly encourage you to jump on over and either shoot me a message and get the Zoom link, or go on over to our Note Nation Facebook group and join us there, because the link is live there for everybody else as well. Okay. There's no charge to be on this 4 weeks. Nope, not at all. Okay. But it'll do you better if you've actually taken the class or signed up for a monthly membership, so that you can actually have access to our 3-day workshop, so you understand what I'm talking about more so. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, hey, I want to thank you for those that joined us live here. I'm going to have a few people jump in, jump out. Look forward to it. My biggest goal, ladies and gentlemen, here is to help make you successful in the 2024 year, help you close deals, help you get some things done. That's the way that we all get ahead, helping others succeed. I'm proud of the fact that my students are closing deals. I'm proud of the fact that they're out making offers, and let's help you make 2024 your most profitable. Because I really believe if you're acting and living in the distressed asset space in real estate, you're going to find deals and make more money than you were otherwise. So go out, take some action, everybody. Have a great evening. Once again, make sure if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that at WeCloseNotes.tv. And hey, great to see you, Jessica. Thank you for this. Great to get some new momentum in 2024. Awesome. Definitely. Lisa, you're welcome. You and Darlene have a great day. Let me know how that bid comes out with your Florida note. And Lorelei, thank you. Yeah, guys, feel free, if you want to book a call with me, you can by going to talkwithscottcarson.com. That's talkwithscottcarson.com. That'll take you to my calendar to book a call with me. All right, go out, take some action, and we'll see you at the top.